many times in life have you felt utterly inadequate? You know you'll never measure up. You won't make the cut. You're simply not good enough. Or maybe you have too much baggage. For some of us, these are circumstantial feelings that show up in seasons of failure, loss, or burnout. But for some of us, these concerns are rooted in shame that takes up permanent residence and sidelines us, quietly whispering, "Do I matter to God? Does He really love me?" With these questions in mind, let's meet Jesus through the eyes of a woman whose story is recorded in John chapter 4, and experience the ways He lovingly challenged her own narratives and doubts. You approach the well and look up, startled by the realization that someone is sitting there. That someone is a Jew and a man. Should you wait or come back? Surely he would prefer that you not approach. You hesitate and decide that you cannot wait any longer. Besides, this is a public well and you have the right. When you draw nearer, you are aghast when the man speaks to you and asks for a drink. He must be desperately thirsty. You manage to say, "How can you ask me for a drink?" He responds, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water." Seriously? Who does this guy think he is? You point out that he has no tools to draw water, so living water seems an odd claim. And then you use this chance meeting to bring up the fact that you are a descendant of Jacob too. He goes right back to talking about this living water, insisting that drinking of it leads to eternal life and eternal thirst quenching. You are listening now. If you never had to come back to this well again, you could avoid the daily reminder that you are a misfit, a mistake. Your mind wanders as you imagine the relief, and are brought back to reality by his request that you bring your husband. "I have no husband," you reply honestly. Nothing could prepare you for his response. You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you have now is not your husband. What you have just said is quite true. You do not know whether to be horrified or impressed, but you are certain you want to change the subject, and you can feel the color creeping up to your hairline. You say you know he's a prophet and toss at him the question of cultural discrepancy about worshiping in Jerusalem versus Samaria. Maybe that is why he is here? But his answer makes no sense, so you say to him, you know the Messiah is coming and will explain everything. The man pauses, then declares, "I am he." The look in his eyes is warm and kind. He knows. He knows all about you, and he is the Messiah. And he chose to speak to you. He knew all along. You have no words. The tears begin to run down your face. But this time, you are unashamed. You are convicted and accepted. Just then, a group of men join him carrying food and supplies. A couple of the men look somewhat curious seeing you there with him, but no one questions. No one shrinks back or treats you as an outcast. Are all of them like him, you wonder? Suddenly you are bursting inside. You leave your jar behind, pick up your skirts, and run into town to share the news. You no longer care what they think. You are calling out in the streets, "Come! See a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah?" You know that he must be the one. Your excitement is uncontainable, and your life will never be the same. Friends, I am amazed by the way Jesus interacted with this woman. He chose to speak to her across cultural and gender barriers. She, in the midst of her life mess, was the one Jesus gave the privilege of spreading the word about him. If he would choose her, he could choose me. He could choose you. And he does choose us. He speaks to each of us, and he imparts honor and dignity so we can offer these gifts to others. May you be encouraged and blessed.